Hello and welcome to another Gaming Stooges Talks. Today's topic is top games of the 2000s.
Hell yeah.
So 2000 through 2009. This was a topic voted by
you, the viewer.
Yeah, by you basically.
Yes.
And also us.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we also voted.
Yeah. If you didn't get a chance to vote, then you should probably join our Discord and follow us on Twitter.
Because then you can vote in future polls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually have a poll once every couple months. Sometimes we already have an idea for a month, so we keep that in mind. But nowadays we've been putting up polls to have topic ideas chosen by the viewers. So that's what this one is. I don't know how this is going to be cut up, so we'll see what this video entirely entails. But we're going to start. This is going to be a top 15 list, as the title suggests, of games from the 2000s. We're going to start off with everyone's honorable mentions, if they chose any. Jack, go ahead.
My honorable mentions are Katamari Damacy, Mother 3, Okami, Sonic Adventure 2, and Animal Crossing.
I actually share a game on our list. Alright.
Then go ahead.
My honorable mentions are Disgaea Hour of Darkness, Katamari Damacy, Twisted Metal Black, Mario Kart Wii, and New Super Mario Bros.
Mine are Valkyria Chronicles, Homeworld 2, Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, Jack 2, and Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay, and my honorable mentions are Shadow of the Colossus, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Pandemic, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, World of Goo, and Soul Calibur 2.
Damn, I forgot that World of Goo was a 2000s game.
Yep, 2009 or 8 or something.
I think it was 8.
8. It was very early into the Wii Shop channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, top 15, please.
Top 15.
Top 15.
That's me, I guess.
Number
Yeah, that's
15.
you.
Okay. My number 15 is Mario Kart DS. Mario Kart DS is the first Mario Kart game I ever owned myself. I had played Double Dash and 64 at friends' houses before this, but this was the first one that I ever got really, really into, and I just think it's really great. Even today, I think it has some great tracks. This was the first game to introduce the retro courses. Which, I mean, they're not great in this game. They're kind of just they don't look fantastic, but it's still a neat idea that they would continue to use in every future game. It has great music. It controls really well. Even today, it's controls have actually aged remarkably well compared to some of the other games in the series. Overall, it's just it's also just a game that I've sunk a ton of time to. It was a really tough call between this and Animal Crossing for my number 15, but I put a lot more time into this one than not any Animal Crossing, but any Animal Crossing from the 2000s. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say.
My number 15 is The Legend of
Heroes.
No, The Legend of Dragoon. Legend of Dragoon is a PS1 RPG that was actually showcased in our top summer levels because it has one of my favorite summer themed levels. Go watch that if you haven't seen that. It's a turn-based RPG on the PS1 that is actually made by Sony, published by Sony. And it feels it's supposed to basically be just like other PS1 RPGs, the feel of it. So if you've played Final Fantasy on the PS1 or anything like that, then you're basically right at home, but it has some really unique aspects to the gameplay. First of all, magic is not normally usable, but the main characters, they all have like this tie because they're chosen by Dragoon spirits, which is the reason the name of the game is the name of the game. And the Dragoons, when they transform it into these Dragoons, they actually can use magic at that point. There's also a unique addition system where you can do like a timed button press combo, and you can do like extra damage based on the combo that you use. And it's really, it's not like super deep, but at the same time it's enough that it's like really unique. The music is really good, the story is good, the graphics are some of the best on the PS1. Like, they definitely went all out, and it shows because this game takes 4 discs.
God damn.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like, you'll get like strong PS1 Final Fantasy vibes, but it's a really good game, and there's like some deep stuff. Like, you fight other Dragoon spirit chosen like proteges and stuff like that, and like turns out to be like a race war of sorts between 2 ancient races. There's like another race that's like the Dragoons but not. I'm not gonna get too far into it because it's spoiler territory. Great game though. It came out like right in 2000. I definitely suggest, if you like turn-based RPGs and haven't played it, it's very underrated, so play it.
My number 15 is kind of for nostalgia. It's Extermination, which has the honor of actually being the first PS2 horror game to be released for the system at the time. Extermination is a bit interesting because it's not like, it's not an established horror game. It's not Silent Hill. It's not Resident Evil. It's just, another horror game. So really, it shouldn't be that special, but, it was the first one. So, whatever. But it's mostly just like some really bizarre infection that causes like weird like glowy lights to appear on your body. I'm not 100% sure why that is. It's a little bit more action oriented than some other horror games, mostly because of the fact that you actually do have unlimited ammo for your rifle. You can run out of ammo, but like the little save points kind of give you unlimited ammo, because as soon as you walk up to it, you can refill back to full. So you can kind of go guns blazing in this game, despite the fact that it's supposed to be a horror game. But you're not invincible, but you definitely are one of the more mobile protagonists in a horror game, because you can actually jump in this game, something that you normally can't do in horror games. It's kind of old though. The models really show their age, and voice acting is about as good as any Resident Evil game, really, so there's that. But I still like it because it's nostalgic for me, and it's actually one of the first PS2 games I ever owned, so, it has that going for it. But it's number 15 because it's just mostly just nostalgia.
My number 15 is Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones for the Game Boy Advance.
Is that 6? I'm legitimately asking. I don't remember.
I think it's number 6.
Sacred Stones, I think, was Fire Emblem
6 or 7. Or 8.
Because
8.
Yeah, because the first Fire Emblem
8.
game we got on the GBA, just called Fire Emblem, is Fire Emblem 7. Because I remember
that's 7.
The first Fire Emblem game we
Roy
got
is
was
6.
Yeah.
Roy is 6.
Right.
I'm remembering now. Don't put me on a spot for the number of which Fire Emblem is,
okay.
Please. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I will always get it wrong. Because they include, like, the 1-2 combo that was on the Super Nintendo for that numbering, and it's weird. Anyway, The Sacred Stones, which was the second game that we got out in the US, was actually the first Fire Emblem I played, and I enjoyed it a lot. Out of the older, so anything that's pre-Awakening, we'll say that, it's probably the easiest to get into, which is probably a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
That it was one of my first ones, because you have ways to, like, grind, outside of just fights. So it's a little bit more, it has a little bit more leeway than other titles of its era. like the game that came before it, or the two console games, or that one that remains unnamed. And then, Awakening was pretty easy. I like the story a lot. The graphics of all the Game Boy Advance games are all, like, pretty similar. They all ran off the same engine. But the character portraits and the animations are all, like, top-notch. It's just satisfying to get a critical hit on an enemy because the
whole screen
animation,
shakes.
there's that. There's just a little bit more flourish with the attacks. You can always tell, like, with an archer, the way they, like, flip around the arrow and pull back the bow. There's just a little bit more to it. It's just, like I said, that's satisfying. The story for this one is pretty solid. I like the dynamic of the dual protagonists, and then, also being able to pick, like, story route, cause you can kind of branch off, at one point, and then it kind of comes back together. So you can play a little bit, like you can, one playthrough, you can go down one story route, you can play through the game again, pick the other story route, when it's different enough.
It's almost like Landon likes Fire Emblem games that you can play as multiple main protagonists.
Maybe, but we'll never know. There's no way to find out after this. So yeah, Fire Emblem's The Sacred Stones, I enjoy it a lot.
Number 14s.
My number 14 is probably the only chance of Cloud and I having the same game on the same spot on our lists. My number 14 is Ratchet Clank 3 Upper Arsenal.
Not in the same spot.
Damn, okay. Oh well.
Why is that literally the only game you think that we share on this list at all?
Looking at the rest of my choices, yes, actually.
You might be surprised. There might be one other. Depends.
Okay. Anyway, really, really tough call between this one and A Crack in Time, honestly. I love both of them, but I went with this one because nostalgia. I mean, they're both amazing games, and also I stuck with one game per franchise because I didn't want this list to be conflated with
the same
games. Yeah, a bunch of the same games. But I mean, like, this is a classic. It's a classic 3D platformer. It's got some great weapons. It's honestly a pretty good looking PS2 game, all things considered. Good voice acting, fun story, cool environments, great characters. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it, but it's like it's just a really fun game. I love it a lot.
My number 14 is Xenosaga Episode 1, Der Wilzermacht. Spoiler alert.
Gesundheit.
Yes, it's a weird subtitle. Spoiler alert, I didn't get to play Xenosaga Episode 3 quite yet. I had a bunch of stuff come up, and I just never got the chance to play it yet. So I know I've heard a lot of people say that Xenosaga Episode 3 is probably the best one, but I can't put it on this list that I have because I have played it. But I really love the first game. The characters are really great. I love the setting. The story starts off as what seems to be a somewhat typical sci-fi role-playing game, but it gets a lot deeper. And I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I love Cosmos. She's like one of my favorite characters ever. The combat system is pretty cool. I like how you can like do different attacks and like each of the characters can get in like a mech and fight in that. It's kind of interesting. I'm not gonna get too far into it because it's pretty much just, a lot of it's like the reason why I like this game is like stuff that takes place like later on in the game story wise, but it's just great game, good voice acting, good story, good battle system. Yeah, it's really all you need.
Alright, so we're going to have our first PC game on this list. Number 14 is Black and White 2. Which, by the way...
Not Pokemon.
That's a fucking... No, technically this game beat Pokemon to the punch. This is I believe this is a Peter Molyneux game, so this is probably going to be the only game that he's ever made on my list. So Black and White 2 is a god game. which means it's my preferred position where I get to torment people. You basically like help this civilization of Greek people like try to recover from getting their asses handed to them, and you basically kind of jump around different like worlds to try to make that happen. And at the same time, because you're also a god, you can also do like really crazy shit like fucking throw fireballs and like change the weather. You can even change the time of day just by kind of like turning an invisible clock in the sky like a fucking dial. And you even have like a little pet. He's like I call him a little titan because it's basically what he is because they're Greek. But yeah, it's like a little animal companion that's like bigger than the forest that he can run through, so that's kind of cool. And there's a good and evil mechanic, so it's kind of very Fable-ish, except a little bit more satisfying and not as stupid. And really just the whole thing is just build up your people, try not to die, and, the good and evil thing is kind of like whatever you feel like, really. It doesn't really affect anything. It just kind of changes the appearance of, like, your world and your little, like, Titan guy. But other than that, it's mostly just, like, goofy fun, so that's why I like it.
My number 14 is probably the most recent game I've played out of every single game on this list. It's Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations.
Hey.
Nice.
Hey.
That's a good game.
You like that game.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
I very recently played through most of the Phoenix Wright games. I still have some more to play through, but played through the original trilogy, and Trials and Tribulations is overall my favorite of those three. Definitely has probably the best overall like arcing storyline, and probably some of my favorite cases from the series so far that I've played. I love Coffee Dad. He is excellent. Obviously Phoenix is very good in this game. And Miles is really good in this game. I don't know, all the characters are very fun. Soundtrack for the game is solid. I specifically played the HD trilogy, so it looks a little funky compared to like the sprite work that the older game, like the original versions had. But the set pieces look fine. It's a solid looking game, so really enjoyed it.
Number 13s.
Okay. My number 13 is Team Fortress 2.
Oh.
Hey. Oh. Yeah. Probably weren't expecting this one.
No, I wasn't.
Because I never talk about it. Landon was. I never talk about this game, but I've put like close to 600 hours in this game.
Jesus
I think.
Fucking Christ, Jack.
And I haven't even played it in like a few years at least. But like, I love this game. This is like my single favorite like multiplayer shooter of all time. It's so much fun. Team Fortress 2 is like a team versus team like class-based first-person shooter, and it's just really fun. It has just some incredibly fun characters to play as, with like a ton of different like weapons and cosmetics as well to choose from. Being the meme being that
Hats.
It's a hat simulator. And it's just, it has a lot of it's very stylized and has a lot of character to it. Like the characters are very cartoony, and when you die you explode into bits and giblets of gore, but it's very cartoony. It's just really fun. I love this game. I want to play it again sometime.
My number 13 is a game that may or may not. Actually, I don't even remember if Jack already mentioned it in his honorable mentions or not. If it's not, it could be on his list. I don't know. Super Smash Bros. Brawl? Yeah, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I had a really hard time picking between this and Melee. I went back and forth on this, and I just decided that although Melee's the technically superior game, I can't deny that Brawl's just the better package overall, and it is the better game for me personally that I have played, like, my experience with it. It's just the game that, like, ruled the later part of the 2000s for me. Like, there was so much hype behind it. It brought so much new stuff to the table and really put Smash Brothers on a new level that made it like Melee was already a great game, but Smash Brothers Brawl was like the game that made the gaming community realize this is a series that's going to stay. It's going to stay. There's so many cool new characters. Meta Knight was like a big one. Fucking Snake, Sonic. Oh, when Sonic dropped, that was it. It was over.
Broke the internet.
Yeah, fucking literally broke the internet. I can't remember which day it was particular, but it was in
10-10-07.
2007, yep. Great game though. I mean, the battle system, the battle mechanics aren't, they're arguably the worst of the series, but like just the sheer fact that there was like a cutscene filled story mode, there was a stage creator, there was all this awesome new music, tons of great new stages. Just a lot of the new characters were great. There was a decently sized selection of unique characters to play as in this one. It's just it was just a new level, and it's still fun to go back to this day because like you can install like Project M on it and everything. Like that's all stuff that I'm not going to get into depth about, but it's Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's a great game.
My number 13 is Metroid Prime. Now I am going to say I actually like of the 3 games, this is definitely my favorite. 3, there's a bit of weirdness to it that I'm not a fan of, and I don't mind to. I just thought the Light and Dark World was a little bit too Zelda-ish for Metroid, but Metroid Prime is definitely my favorite of like the newer Metroid. Well, I say newer, but you know what I mean. I just like exploring the world around the game. It just seemed really interesting to me, like usual, because that's just how I am. I really love the snow areas. The environmental building was pretty cool. The bosses, some of the bosses were cool. I will admit, some of them were kind of like dumb, in my opinion, like Flagra and them. But I like the battle with Ridley. That was kind of fun, even if he's kind of like annoying because he's entirely chance-based whether or not he's gonna let you hit him. Yeah, it's just a Metroid game in 3D. That's exactly what it was, and that's exactly what I asked for. It's just I can never find that last fucking scan. What the fuck?
That's because it gets locked out.
Yeah, and if you fuck up, that's it. No, 100%. But yeah, Metroid Prime is a really good game. I know I didn't really say that much, but it's like, you know, it's Metroid. It's like I said, Prime is 3D Metroid of... You know, fuck it. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
My number 13 is Pikmin 2 for the GameCube.
The Jam Cube?
I adore the Pikmin games, and number 2 is, well, I like going back to it more than I like the first one, just because the first one is very strict with its time limit, and number 2 is a lot more freeform. You don't have the strict time limit to beat the game. You can do a lot more like overworld exploration without like worrying about running down the overall clock on the game. You still have the day-to-day clock, but you don't have to worry about in 30 days you're gonna suffocate and die type deal, which is kind of depressing. It also has a little bit more in terms of variety in Pikmin, because they add 2 more Pikmins to the group. 2 more Pikmin. I guess Pikmin is Pikmin the plural Pikmin?
Yeah, Pikmin is it's like Pokemon. Yeah.
Really...
Yeah.
He has no Pokemons.
The Pikemen of the Pikmin Anyway, they added dungeons to it, so you can go underground, explore dungeons, and that's where they have some very creative like level sets for you to explore, and very fun boss fights. And it's a lot harder than like normal exploration. Also, I should probably mention the plot of the game. You're trying to get out of debt, so it is literally the Spaceballs 2 plot, where it's the search for more money. If Spaceballs 2 existed.
Yeah.
It's literally the perfect plot of a sequel. Yeah. But I just love the overall improvements to the game. You have 2 leaders, so you can do a little bit more micromanaging, working on 2 projects at once, being able to split up the Pikmin party that way. I think that, Pikmin 2 had a competitive mode where you could play against a friend in like a time challenge thing. Played a little bit of that. Never got super good at it, but I think my sister and I played it a couple times and enjoyed it. I just really adore it. And then, especially since they ported the game to the Wii and then gave it the motion controls where it plays super well with the point and click style controls of being able to very much easily aim where you want your Pikmin to be thrown at. So, very much enjoy Pikmin 2.
My number 12 is, hey, it's a game I talked about on our previous list. It's Tony Hawk's Underground.
Hey, it's that game.
It's that game.
I didn't expect that.
Go watch our Summer Levels video if you haven't already.
If you were in our Discord, this is probably something you could have seen coming because he posted a tier list.
Tony Hawk's Underground is my favorite Tony Hawk game. It is like the peak for mechanics in the series, in my opinion. It has like everything the series introduced up to this point, plus spine transfers, and I think the two spine transfers and walking are the 2 big things. Like you can a really like cheap and easy way to like extend a combo if you're afraid you're gonna fuck up is to just press the Z button and just get off your board, just walk around for a little bit so you can like walk to somewhere where you can continue your combo. But I mean, even aside from that, this is the first game that in the series that had like a really in-depth story. I mean, Pro Skater 4 kind of had a story, but it was like it was a little like in the background. But like this game actually has a really fun story with some. It's really good actually. It has some fun characters where you and your best buddy Eric try and like do some sick skate tricks and shit to get recognized by a label, and then you meet Chad Muska and he gives you a board, and then you escape from the cops and go to New York City, and it just kind of goes on and on from there. You end up in Russia. You drive a tank. It's ridiculous, but the level design is like incredible. Like there are very few, like I think there's only really one level in this game that I don't really care for. And that's just because it's kind of boring, not really because it's bad. But I mean, just about like everything else in this game is like fantastic.
Level creator.
It does have a level creator, yes, and yeah, it's also aged remarkably well. Like it's still like it has like basically 0 load times. It runs a smooth 60 frames per second with like pretty much no frame drops ever. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great game. I want a remake, but honestly, like I don't necessarily need one.
My number
12.
Were you gonna say something about Tony Hawk?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say Tony Hawk will forever be memorable to me because of the fucking Neversoft logo.
Oh yeah, also the soundtrack is amazing and has like 70 plus songs in it, so there you go. All right, go ahead.
My number 12 is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I will die on this hill. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is one of the best Sonic games out there. Might not
Bang.
It might not be the best.
He's dead. All right, move on.
It might not be the best, but it is one of the best. I grew up with this game back when like I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. This was a lot of personal stuff. This was a game that ended up being a really good escape. Well, I got to go back to this game like 6 years later, and I played the shit out of Sonic Adventure 2, I swear. The music is so great. The story is actually pretty decent considering Sonic story standards. The actual writing could be better, but the story itself is good. The characters, they play pretty well, honestly. The game holds up pretty well. The Chow Garden, we've talked about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. It was on our when we did like our ranked list, it was way high up there. I'm not gonna go like too far into this. We already know that we like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
My number 12 is Aliens vs. Predator 2. There's a lot of twos here. So this was peak PC Justin. Like, this was when I was super competitive on the PC, when my reflexes were at their best, honestly, because honestly I think maybe age has fucked me up. But and it was also when I could actually play keyboard and mouse better than I can a controller. Aliens vs. Predator 2 is, if anyone's played an Alien vs. Predator game, they know it's the whole 3 campaigns. You play as the Marine, you play as the Predator, you play as the Alien. Marine obviously has the most story because they're humans. They can use speaking words, and Predators and Aliens are just kind of there to cause chaos. Like most games, the Alien campaign starts first because of the fact that, you know, they usually cause the infestation, which attracts the Predators. And then the Marines usually have to come in and, you know, clean up and die a lot. I remember playing the multiplayer a lot, and I usually played as the Alien, and Aliens are fast as shit in this game. Like, you can actually get motion sickness from how quick these fuckers move. And I used to rack up a lot of kills. I probably couldn't do it today because I suck, and I'm really slow now. But back in the day, this game was the shit. Like, I actually like playing as the Predator and the Alien more than I like the Marine. I thought the Marine was too basic because, you know, why would you want to play as the human when you can play as alien creatures? Like, what the fuck? But yeah, this game was a lot of fun. I always liked the Predator and Alien franchises, so this was a really fun game to me.
My number 12 is Muramasa, the Demon Blade, which was a game that originally released for the Wii system, and then eventually later came out for the Vita. It is a very solid hack and slash game with 2 full campaigns. It is super fun combat, very stylized, excellent soundtrack. We will eventually have to let's play it. I'll probably end up doing it at some point. I adore the art style in this game and just how the game feels. Like I said, there's two campaigns to play through. I forget what the characters' names are. There's like a boy and a girl. Each of them have their own reason for going out through the campaign. They have pretty different boss fights. They're pretty. It's like 2 fully fleshed out like stories that, while they take place in the same area, have a lot of unique stuff about them. Not a whole lot of overlap happens, which is nice. There's 70 or so blades that you can collect, and each one plays different, and there's reasons to switch around between the different blades. You can have up to 3 equipped towards the end of the game, and you switch between them as you want, and it's just a lot of fun. So, Muramasa, the Demon Blade.
My number 11. Hey, remember 15 minutes ago when Cloud talked about a particular game?
Yes.
Nope.
That's it. Yeah, me neither. My number 11 is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I also had kind of a hard time. Just copy and paste everything Cloud said and put it here, honestly. Yeah, I had a hard time choosing between this and Melee. Melee is probably a better multiplayer game, but like Brawl has like a shitload of content in it, and me being a lonely teenager, this was the perfect game for me because this has the best single player in the series, in my opinion. Like tons of like missions and events and the Subspace Emissary to play through. It's all really fun. Like there's a ton here to keep you entertained for a long time, even if you're playing by yourself, which is something that cannot be said about the game that followed, but we're not going to talk about that one. Great soundtrack. That came out before this game.
That followed it.
What?
Yeah.
Whatever. Great soundtrack. The art style isn't the best. It hasn't aged the best, but like, I mean, it's still, the game looks really good for a Wii game. And
that's the important thing.
Yeah, I don't know. This game is massively overhated because it's really slow and floaty, and like, yeah, sure, that's true, but like, hey, don't take it so seriously and just have fun with it, and it's still a great game. So, you know,
people who play competitively can't have fun. It's a known fact.
That's true.
That's just science.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
So my number 11 is Final Fantasy IX. I don't get to talk that much about this game because the very few times I talk about Final Fantasy, I'm shoving Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy Tactics down your throats all the time. But Final Fantasy IX is amazing, and I might be one of like the weird people out there that like actually really, really likes this game and 7, because usually people will like talk about one or the other and then like not really care for the other one. No, Final Fantasy IX is really great. Like, the characters are all really great. The story is really fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it is still serious enough that it has like an epic struggle with like Kuja, the main antagonist, who is unlike villains from like a lot of RPGs. Like, he's literally on your ass like almost every step of the way. It's just a really nice game. It holds up very well. The ability learning system, where you can customize your characters by giving them different abilities, is pretty cool. They would actually go on and adapt that into Final Fantasy Tactics, which Justin talked about in his favorite RPGs list, by the way. But yeah, Final Fantasy IX, great everything, like music, characters, battle system is really good. I mean, it's standard ATB based Final Fantasy at its most finely tuned, and because it was a late era PS1 game, it runs really well. So unlike Final Fantasy VII, where I complained that it kind of ages a little bit bad, no, this one's just perfectly fine. It's good. I definitely suggest that if you like more like classical turn-based RPGs, like, it's really good at like taking inspiration, especially from early Final Fantasy. Really good game.
My number 11 is simply titled Transformers, but it's actually that one that's on the PS2 that's based on Armada. So this is a little bit of an interesting pick because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like one of those rare, like, anime-based games, but it's not really anime because it's kind of like, it actually is kind of like stripped out pretty much everything about Armada, and it's just kind of using the character skins from the show. That's pretty much the only connection they have besides the mini-cons. It's kind of like one of those games where it's like you run around the world, you collect the power-ups are technically the mini-cons, they're like the upgrades. They have like this weird system where if you get mini-cons of the same color, it gives you like a boosted effect. So you can get like a combination of 4 different mini-cons. I think they'll respond to the L and R buttons, all of them, L1, R1, L2, R2. So it's one of those few shooters where you actually have to use all 4 of them. And it's kind of open worldy because there's not really anything besides like a main pathway that kind of tells you where to go. You can kind of run all over the various lands that you visit, and there's not really anything stopping you aside from maybe some like really high mountains and shit that you just can't climb over. and some even need to like glide after getting a certain mini con just to even reach some of the higher sections of the levels. There are boss fights. Most of them are like the main Decepticons, like Starscream and like Megatron and that. But it's like you're kind of straight up murdering them, which didn't really happen in Armada. So like when you kill a boss, they're just dead. It's like fuck. The only real notable thing about it is that you do fight Unicron at the end. It's kind of a boss that once you beat it, that's just it. Like you can't refight him. He's just gone. And that's like the only time you ever see Cybertron. I thought it was a good game. It's very loosely based on Armada, but I liked Armada enough that I thought the connection was okay, even though it didn't have any of the plot. And it's just a fun game to play. Like, maybe if I ever LP it, you'd get to see it in action, but I thought it was good.
My number 11 is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness for the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah, that's pretty expected.
Shut up.
Free Lugia edition.
Free Lugia edition. Free him.
Lugia edition. It's not him, because he's purple. Anyway, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is the sequel to Pokemon Coliseum.
Go watch that LP.
Yeah, go watch that LP. Eventually, I'll be able to say go watch that LP to Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, but I have a 2-year commitment already. Rip me. Anyway, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness takes place in the Ora region, a couple years after the events of Pokemon Coliseum. You play as this kid. He's got an Eevee, so that's cool. And you work for this laboratory that is looking into how to purify shadow Pokemon, because they're still running around there. And then shit hits the fan. And you basically get a new Snag'em arm device where you can capture shadow Pokemon, and then you are working your way around the Ora region to save shadow Pokemon from terrorists and whatnot. Normal Pokemon shit. I adore the game. It has a pretty solid story. Goes in a little bit deeper than your normal Pokemon games, especially at the time. I guess Gen 3 did okay with the story, but I always felt like the Pokemon Coliseum and especially XD really nailed the story beats for a Pokemon game. Really enjoy the soundtrack, and it looks really nice too. So Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness. That's going to be it for this part of our top games of the 2000s. We'll see you in the next part where we go through our 10 through 6.
Be there or be square.